Now, I want to segue into something here real quick, Mythic, because you ended up dropping a video yesterday, and you ended up saying that you think it's a real possibility that the Arizona Cardinals might get CeeDee Lamb. You want to go ahead and elaborate on that?
I do. And here's the thing. Like, obviously, I'm looking into every minute detail. Like, he changed his Twitter header, and it's just like, oh, my eyes are on that. And as you guys see right here, it's him and Hollywood Brown. People are saying that it's been there, but a lot of people are also saying that it just changed. So the fact it's even that, it's like, it's not even him in a Dallas Cowboys jersey. It's him in Hollywood Brown in college. It's just something to note. And then on top of that, CeeDee Lamb didn't sign his contract extension in the offseason. He's in no rush to do it. And then you pile everything on that happened, and you have Richard Sherman coming out here, and Richard Sherman's basically bashing his name. Richard Sherman believes that Dallas is missing Amari Cooper right here. He doesn't believe he's a wide receiver 1. He believes he's a wide receiver 2. I just feel like the way Dallas is utilizing him, he's not a wide receiver 1 at the end of the day, and he has the potential to be, and he is fantastic on the field. It's just Dallas isn't utilizing him, and I don't know. Is CD unhappy? A lot of people are saying he's becoming frustrated with the team.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. I mean, his last 3 games, he finished 4 receptions, 4 receptions, 4 receptions. Then the game before that was 11, and then 4 again. You're a number 1 wide receiver getting 4 receptions a game. Like, I don't know. It's Dallas, man. Dallas is passing the ball a lot. Dak Prescott, I just don't believe in him. And something interesting, too, is Jerry Jones came out here, and he literally would not advocate for CeeDee Lamb. Like, when he was asked about getting, like, CeeDee Lamb more involved, Jerry Jones literally said, I don't know about that. Just straight up. I don't know about that. I don't know about getting him involved, He says the team needs to spread the ball to all wide receivers and tight ends. Like, if this is your wide receiver 1, like bona fide wide receiver 1, you'd be like, yes, obviously he needs the ball. You think the Bengals owner is going to come out here and be like, oh, do you think you need to get Jamar Chase involved more? No, we just need to spread the ball. It needs to go to tight ends and running back. Like, no, this is our playmaker. This is the guy who wins his football games. He beat us. Like, he literally said he's wide open every play, and look at what he does. I mean, what happens if CeeDee Lamb gets 10 targets a game? You know what I'm saying? 10 to 12 targets a game. And it's not like this is a team that doesn't pass the football. Yeah. It's the freaking Cowboys. Like, I don't even know Dak Prescott's attempts per game, but I guarantee he's cracking 25, 30 every single game.
Right.
And then what's crazy is after the Cowboys literally got obliterated by the 49ers, Jerry Jones, the same guy, came out and advocated for Dak Prescott. After losing 42-10, he said, I completely believe we have the quarterback that can take us where we want to go. Make no mistake about it. We have a quarterback that can get us there. Dak Prescott's a quarterback that can get us to the Super Bowl, and that's the way that's going to be. Literally in the same week. This is what happened. You think you need to get CeeDee involved? No. Is Dak Prescott? The answer, yes. This is our Super Bowl quarterback. We believe in him. We're fully riding for him. So it's just like, it's super interesting, And if you're CeeDee Lamb, you're hearing these things, right? People are talking crap on my name. I'm not a wide receiver 1. Like, okay, cool. Noted in the back of my head. Oh, the owner of the team I play for is coming out here and saying, I don't need to get the ball more. Do you believe in me? It doesn't sound like it. Like, are you really advocating? And then the Twitter banner change. I don't know.
Right.
All these things are adding up. And it's like, if he does have built up frustrations, what is a team that would even trade for him? And you have a team where if you're CeeDee Lamb, you want to go play with your OU boys. You want to go play with Hollywood. You want to go play with Kyler. Now, obviously, the money is an issue, right? Because you do have to pay him in the offseason. We do have to pay Hollywood. What do we do here? It's a situation where, like, if you want to keep Hollywood long-term, and I feel like a wide receiver trio, even if we don't get Marvin Harrison, that pick can be allotted for something else. You go get CeeDee Lamb, you have your wide receiver 1 for the future.
True.
You would love to have a Marvin Harrison, but from what I'm seeing in college, he is very injury prone. I feel like he's always getting knocked out, but the talent is there. I feel like there's always like a super scary injury, and then he gets checked back in the game, and I'm like, dude, that's scary, right? Like, if you're the Cardinals and that's your wide receiver 1, he gets hurt, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat every single game, dude.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right.
But if you trade for CeeDee, you get to use a top 10 pick on somebody else. Is that a corner? Is that a lineman? Is that a defensive end? Like, the possibilities are endless. And you pair him back up with Kyler if that's the long-term goal, which obviously that is a big part of this as well. If Kyler's your long-term goal, this is one of the solutions that you probably go down. Like, they have that connection already. And obviously you're basing it on college, but I mean, you see what CeeDee does in the league. I feel like if utilized correctly, CeeDee Lamb could be way better than he is right now. Like, genuinely. I feel like Dallas doesn't utilize him as well. And there's people in the media too, who I don't really like paying attention to people in the media, but there's a lot of people who are even advocating, like, they're not using him right. Dan Orlovsky's even coming out here and saying it. And obviously Dan Orlovsky is very controversial here and there, but I agree with him. Like, I really feel like CeeDee Lamb's not getting utilized. And the team that, if you're CeeDee Lamb, you look at to going to, I mean, it's this team right here, the Cardinals. Do you feel
Yeah.
like that's realistic? Or do you feel like this is something that could even get done? Because obviously Monty Austinfort might not want to part ways with draft picks either. And
Right.
maybe it takes a Buda Baker though. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
obviously that's the start of a trade.
Yeah, no, but that's I'm just like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Honestly, I think you're gonna have to make a very, very perfect plan to try to utilize this, because you're right. I think that if the idea is that the Arizona Cardinals are going to, go after a wide receiver, then that kind of alleviates the wide receiving role. Especially if you do decide to pay Marquise and CeeDee Lamb. But like, the Arizona Cardinals, yes, there's going to be more money being opened up next year. It's just what they've done so far. I want to believe that the Cardinals have the best interests for Kyler Murray, and obviously bringing his OU guys here. I think that would be a dream made in heaven. That would make fans excited to come in, tune and watch Cardinal football. I think that would be great. If I was Monty Elson, I think that would be a thought in my mind to a cross. But I don't know, with what I've seen so far in this season, I just don't see Monty Elson doing something like that. And for the realism of like, we're calling this a rebuild, right? I want to believe it. I think that's a really good idea. But I'm not trying to shoot it down. But I think where we are at right now, because think about it this way, like first round picks, the luxury of having a first round pick is because you're paying, or you're playing a hopefully superstar, bona fide, great player to come in here on a cheap deal, right? We're going to get burned so badly if we get a first round pick, or we give up a first round pick for CeeDee Lamb and then have to pay him. And then God forbid injuries start kind of, piling up here, either on Kyler or CD, or just this goes backwards for the Cardinals. I would feel confident if the Cardinals can get CeeDee Lamb, which might not be realistic, with not a first round pick, because it's going to be in the understanding that we're going to have to pay him as Cardinal fans. So if we could somehow get him, like, because we got so many picks, we got picks galore. At some point, Monty Elson needs to say, I got all these picks, but not all these picks are going to hit. Let's get somebody that can play in the NFL, right? Maybe not elite. Some people might say, CeeDee Lamb's okay. I'm not saying, I think he's a really good wide receiver, one, but if we can get him and pair him to be with the quarterback in college days, but we're giving up not a first round pick, dude, that would be an absolute steal for the Cardinals. I just do not want the Cardinals to go after a first round pick, and especially a top 10 first round pick to get a CeeDee Lamb. Keep in mind, if we get a second round pick, that's still considered a late first rounder if we give up a second round for CeeDee Lamb. That could alleviate wide receiver. That could alleviate wide receiver, right? That's one of the biggest things for the Cardinals there. And we can allocate those two top first picks for
something else.
For something else. Yeah. I don't hate the idea. I truly don't. But I need Monty Elson to have a plan, because Buda Baker, what can he get us? Maybe a second, maybe a first. I don't know. I don't know what market Buda Baker's going to be able to get there. But at one point, we're going to have to really ask ourselves, we got all these picks, but we got to start flipping these picks. We got to start making something work out. And I love the idea of CeeDee Lamb, but not for a first rounder, especially not a top 10 first round pick.
I agree. Absolutely. A top 10 is not happening.
Yeah.
He got picked at 17. And I feel like in terms of value, like obviously he's a wide receiver, but you do have to pay him. And I'm not paying him and giving up a first round pick. If it's a second, then cool. Maybe it takes Buda Baker, maybe Buda Baker's the start of this trade. Who really knows? Because they did lose Trayvon Diggs. And that wouldn't be a terrible player to ship out in a trade like this. But I don't know. I really don't know. That's just something that you kind of have to keep your head out on, right? Buda Baker could be the start of this trade instead of a pick. And if Dallas wants him, I mean, that's a thing. And maybe, I don't know. But there's not many. Maybe like a Rondale Moore and a Buda Baker, and they give a CD and a pick. Would you do that?
Oh,
because then you're Michael Wilson, Hollywood Brown, and then CeeDee Lamb.
What benefits would Dallas have with that? Because they're losing their essentially number one wide receiver, like, and they're going for a Super Bowl. Like, what benefits would they have? Like, yes, they get Buda Baker, which is a multi-Pro Bowler safety back there, but the weapons that they're going to be, although they're not using them, weapons that they're taking away from Dak Prescott, do you think that they will actually do it?
I don't know. I feel like it really depends. Like, if that's their long-term goal is signing CeeDee Lamb and utilizing him as their wide receiver one, they actually view him like that, I don't feel like they part with them, right? It's kind of like, it's very dependent on what Dallas views him as. Like, if this is I don't know, because like they have Michael Gallup And are you winning a Super Bowl with Michael Gallup as your wide receiver 1? I don't know, probably not. But like if you can acquire like a Buda Baker on defense and then like a Rondale Moore to pair with it, and you should give up your CeeDee Lamb, I think it's like it's the best package I feel like that you can get out there. It just all depends what Jerry Jones and this front office really believe. Like, is CeeDee Lamb your long-term goal? I
Yeah.
don't know. And
That,
if he's not, I mean, things get very interesting. And maybe he doesn't even get moved now. Maybe he gets moved in the offseason. But if it
true.
is a trade deadline move, I feel like Buda, Rondale, and they give a CD and a pick, and that is, I feel like that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we get Buddha with the idea of maybe winning a Super Bowl over there. I don't know. Like now thinking about it, like it's just what is the Cowboys going to do at wide receiver? Like, yes, they have Rondo Moore, but like he's good. He's a gadget player, but like I think we would win that. I don't know. It's so hard because Buda Baker's in there. You know what I mean? Like Buda
That's what
Baker
I'm
would be in
saying.
that
So it's
trade.
like you can't say we're going to necessarily just fleece the Cowboys like
Right.
that because we are taking their wide receiver 1, but we're also throwing somebody in because I don't want to give up Michael Wilson long term. I feel like they would fleece us in that part. So I'd be Rondell Moore, Buda Baker. They give a CD and maybe like a 3rd or a 4th. And then you kind of rock with that. And that's like my principle. Obviously, you start high in negotiations. You're going to be like, okay, we want CD a 2nd and we'll give you more in Buda. And then you keep dropping it down. And the lowest I would go is a 4th, genuinely. And if they say no, then all right, hang up the phone. Didn't get anything done. Oh, well, on to the next thing. But I would call them, you know,
Yeah.
especially since they lost Trayvon Diggs. They want to win a Super Bowl. I mean, Buda Baker helps. That defense is getting cooked. 42 dropped.
Yeah.
So,
and their defense is pretty, like, there seemed to be a really good defense. I mean, still, yeah, I mean, and this is what I hate thinking about. Mythic, like, agree here. Let me know if you agree with me. This all could have been resolved if the Arizona Cardinals just drafted CeeDee Lamb like you wanted, like I wanted, and like I don't know why Cardinal fans now are chiming in and saying, "Oh, we have DeAndre Hopkins. We don't need a wide receiver." Yes, we do, because 3 years later we need a wide receiver number 1. Oh my God, this still pains me.